It's truly a miracle that we have shows like this now. These shows that last a long, long time can have many seasons worth. So shows like Seinfeld, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Cheers. These shows can run for a very long time. What about the shows that don't run for a long time at all? In fact, what about something different? Instead of just running for one season or one incomplete season, what about shows that only run for one episode? That's it. The potential squandered with that one episode. Dear Lord, I have to deal with 4 terrible shows on the Great Northern Film Podcast. Episode 3. And we are fucking doing this.
Okay, Smokey, roll 'em.
It's showtime.
Most everyone's mad.
Okay. Before I explain everything, I should probably get the idea down that not every show is a runaway success. There are shows that fail within their first years on the air. We know that through experience, okay? And I've already looked over a failed pilot in the past, the Bluesky pilot. But while that was a small segment in a Bubsy second episode, we're not doing a segment today. Great goodness, we're not doing a segment today. Instead, what we're doing is 4 shows that lasted, all but count them, 1 episode. Well, kind of. In one show's case, it lasted 2 episodes. However, I'm counting it due to country origin. Instead, we're basically showing off what we can do, okay? So, let's get started with all these shows. Number 1, these shows are absolutely terrible. I am not going to be pleasant throughout this whole thing. I'm trying my best to get out this attitude, but some of these shows will make me vitriolically mad. 2, these shows either were banned in some areas or also never aired at times. I'm going to tell you facts of these shows, even if some of these shows don't have any facts to begin with. Actually, I don't think any of these shows have any facts to begin with, but screw it. And 3, we're not going to go into the history of these shows as much, because there really isn't a history. Instead, we're going to be just basically going through those shows and ranting why they don't work. There will also be no after the break segment. Instead, there will be a small time when you guys just relax. Okay? So, be honest, what could constitute a bad TV show? Well, I think a good TV show boils down to 3 main things. Number 1, concept. Okay? Keep in mind that TV shows are not easy to make. We've seen this before, several times before in the recent years where we've had several shows not end up good at all. But the concept has to work for a TV show to work. So, what could be a bad concept? Well, let's go over a show that's not going to talk about this, but I have to mention anyways. Work It. Now, the reason I'm not even working on this is mainly because it lasts 5 episodes. But to get the identity down, Work It was about 2 men trying to dress up as women to get a job position. Yeah, it's about as sexist as you can fucking get on this channel. And another thing is that I'm going to be swearing a lot more in this episode. I've tried to keep the tone down low, but we're not gonna tolerate that on this episode. Sorry guys, but just get used to it. Sorry kids, look away. Anyways, let's continue on with another thing I'm showing is acting. At no point these shows will have good acting. So that's basically what another thing we're gonna need. And 3 is relatable characters. So let's get started. Our first one with God.
Heil, honey.
Hi, honey.
Heil, honey.
Hi, honey.
Heil, honey.
Hello.
I'm home. Heil,
I'm home. I mean, it should be plainly obvious to anybody. Water is wet, space is vast, and Adolf Hitler is human garbage. A pile of shit that deserves to be either be tormented for the rest of our days, or bit, or marked with a bullet in his brain. And as much as they say that this show might be one, I want to remind you that the person we're talking about is still a fucking Nazi. Just something to put that in the lingering back of your mind when we get through the show. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that obvious. But whatever, you might be thinking, oh Elijah, how bad could this show be? Well, let me pose you a question. Who in their right mind will make a sitcom about Adolf Hitler whose name is not Charles Chaplin, Mel Brooks, or Taika Waititi? Well, apparently somebody did, and the results are awful. For starters, the concept is just brain dead already. We have a show where basically Adolf Hitler acts like Mooners. And I know that Jackie Gleason wasn't the most nice person in the world. I get that. But, oh my god, why did you do this? Not only that, but it's really distracting. I try my best to not rationalize everything here. But here are a few things I do want to rationalize. 1. I'm aware that not everybody shares the same ideologies as me. I get it. But come on, this thing makes sense. I mean, do you really want to care about the plot of this episode? Do you? I mean, the plot is simple. It's a sitcom starring Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun. What more do you need? Ugh. Okay, and they live next to a Jewish couple named the Goldensteins. May I remind you that this is the same person who committed mass genocide on Jews? Yeah, I don't think I need to be a rocket scientist. Also, I know I shouldn't say this, but just listen to Hitler's voice.
You must be real mad at me, honey. I'm a very, very bad Hitler.
Why does Hitler have a Brooklyn accent? I'm aware that we're not all people who are aware of Hitler's exact autobiography, but I was pretty sure growing up that most of us figured out that Hitler's country of origin was Germany. Okay? Imagine that. Okay? Imagine this being on someone's resume. I was asked to play Hitler in a sitcom, but I forgot that he's supposed to have a German accent. By the way, just on a side note, this is not relevant podcast at all. If you're hearing any noises, it's not the quality of the podcast or the show itself. It's actually outside. People are doing road work outside, so if you hear any beeping noises, I can't tell them to stop. It's their job. So please just let you know that. Before we continue on, I just want to get that out of the way. So, anyways, back to this show. So, what? So, plot basically that is Hitler and Eva Braun invited Neville Chamberlain to dinner. Okay, here's a brief summary of Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain screwed over Europe. The end. I don't even need to know anything else about it. If you can, read a book. Because I'm clearly just getting angry at this show. Oh. But there's also other things that just don't work here. The tone is cheesier than Gouda, and I do mean that literally. There's like a bunch of jokes that aren't here. I'm not blaming the quality of the footage I found. I know for a fact that this was recorded off of a VCR. So having good quality footage, I'm not going to give a blame for that. A VCR having that quality footage, I'm just going to say, yeah, wow. But it doesn't help that this thing is just bad. What works with adaptations like The Great Dictator, The Producers, and Jojo Rabbit is that they do not remove the fact that this guy committed atrocities country, or they make it in a way where it actually works. Mel Brooks, his film Producers, is a great movie for reasons that they're trying to make a flop of this performance. They're making fun of it. Jojo Rabbit is controversial, but it's trying to put a comedic spin on the atrocities, but it's not sanitizing them for us. It's not like trying to say, oh, you should immediately be there. No. This is how people are. This is how times were back in the 1940s, and it doesn't have that. And Charlie Chaplin is trying their best to put a comedic spin, but still not moving the atrocities that were dealt with in the 1940s at the time. This is like trying to put this kind of comedic spin on it, but it doesn't really capitalize on why it doesn't work. What made other nations work, like Mel Brooks' Charles Chaplin, and even fucking Donald Duck work, is because they actually fought in World War II. Regardless of how things are, this is really why we get these films are way more realistic. You're not going to get realistic nuance from this.
Tonight you are making schnitzel. What a joke!
Because A, none of these people were born in World War II. Hell, I don't even think the actor was born by the time World War II took place. And B, this was created by people who stuff. I'm sure someone probably thinks to themselves, oh, this isn't that bad. Listen, I have sat through a ton of shows. Some good, some bad. But you guys do realize that the main reason why this thing doesn't work is not just because of concept. The acting is awful. The idea to give him Brooklyn accents, I still don't know why they decided to give him a Brooklyn accent. Like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't need a rocket scientist to tell you that Hitler's country of origin was in Brooklyn. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody on the godforsaken planet who has read a book, and those people who have probably never read a book in the first place, know that he's not from Brooklyn. Like, Flynn, I don't think it's that blatantly obvious. You say he's supposed to not have a Brooklyn accent. Not only that, but it just doesn't work as a pilot. But it's way too corny. The jokes just don't land. And it makes a character we are meant to have no sympathy towards have sympathy. Overall, I just still puzzled why they made this. I know I'm not going to just history of the show. Welcome to the podcast episode of the week. But I really don't want to tell you why this doesn't work. Now, granted, is this the worst thing ever I think I've seen? Probably not. But it's just showing that this is not good. I have 3 more of these shows and already I'm broken. Please, just get through this. Okay, everybody. Sorry for being a little tense over this, but I hope that these next few shows are anything better than I've talked about. Because, my lord, I had to bring a bottle of water up here. Do you know how that's gonna turn me? If these 2 shows are next, I don't want to turn into the human equivalent of a tea kettle. So let's just get these over with and see what we got here. Our next show is...
Boys and girls, it's time to turn on.
Turn on. Okay, this is slightly better. Let's see the facts here. Let's see this show. Okay, that part. This show will cancel partway through this first episode. I'm sorry, what? This show was canceled partway through its first episode? Well, thank God someone uploaded this on YouTube or else I'd be screwed. Oh my God, thank you. So let's see what this show is all about.
A few moments later.
Oh my God! This is, oh my God, this, yeah, I can see why this thing was cancelled within one episode. Hell, it was cancelled halfway through an episode. I can see why. Okay, let's get started with the whole thing. This is a sketch comedy show. Now, I have watched many sketch comedy shows before this. Okay, All That, Living Color, SNL. They're all great shows. So, realistically, sketch comedy doesn't bother me whatsoever. But this is not the same sketch comedy this is. This is just wow. I mean, for those who don't know, I have a pretty high tolerance on what can be considered high art at times. But my God, this is just bad. But not only that, but it's offensive to people too. Now, I get all comedy is subjective, and I mean, I look like someone who probably gets offended pretty easily at times, right? I mean, you just saw me not angry at a sitcom at Adolf Hitler. But see, well, that show is offensive to people who probably don't really have that issue going on. I need to remind you that this show will offend anybody in a 12-mile radius. And yes, I'm aware of that. Okay? This show makes fun of the disabled, makes fun of black people, white people, straight people, gay people, politically right, political left, political neutral, people who don't who have certain birth defects, people who can't hear, deaf blind people, people who are just plain dumb. And I'm not even done listing them. There's also ones against women, men, and so many others that I just think, wow. And keep in mind, this aired in 1969, guys. Like, this aired not long after the civil rights movement just went through America. Like, wow. I get that all comedy is subjective. I'm aware of that line. Like, all comedy is based on some sort of subversion. But, my God. And, yes, I've seen projects that offend people all the time. People like Dave Chappelle have gone away with it, and I'm perfectly fine with this kind of comedy. So why does it work with him, but not with this show? Well, there's two reasons why. One is that Chappelle is clearly trying to not make light of these things. This show is. And two, it comes from a real place. Where this show, I don't think it is. It seems it's making fun of these things just to have something to laugh at. And it doesn't realize how bad it is. Now, full disclosure, okay? I'm a cisgender straight guy who lives at home in Canada, who doesn't have a girlfriend right now, and doesn't really have any sort of anything else. I'm not really going to say anything else that really is going to offend anyone else here that should be said, but it should be stated that this show right here doesn't just not work because it has some jokes that are just flagrantly offensive. I realize that. I know that. Because, let's face it, having human people is not something that's not against it. So I'm not gonna say that this show just is offensive. I also think that it's just straight up just bad. A lot of sketch comedy jokes just revolve around just jokes that are not funny. And it just tries everything. There's a great quote out there from that I wish I could play, but basically sums up to if humor offends people, left end. So why does this thing not work as well is another thing. So back during the 60s, I decided to use the mode synthesizer to use it. A brand new piece of technology. Let me repeat that. A brand new piece of technology. Now I have to repeat that because it bears repeating. And there is one main reason why I repeat it. Can you tell why? It's annoying. Okay? The mode synthesizer makes the sound quality somehow go from bad to worse. Now people, I am not someone who minds music that is loud. Hell, some of my favorite bands are all synth-based. I love listening to bands like Duran Duran, Tears for Fears. They make great music. But do you want to know what's different than that? Well, here's the thing. When something is brand new, it doesn't have all the kinks worked out. And this show here shows that, yeah, the kinks have not been worked out. Because the sound effects aren't only just annoying, they just don't go with the moments. I'm reminded by, I don't know if you all remember any of these, but do you remember back in the 1960s when Gene Deitch made a bunch of Tom and Jerry cartoons? And he picked up some of the most bizarre sound effects out there. I'm not saying that he's made the cartoons are just outright good, but outright bad, but like the main issue is just the sound work. And that's what I'm reminded by here. I'm reminded by here that the sound work for these shows is outright just plain bad. I'm aware that I'm no sound engineer, I get that. I'm perfectly fine with me, I'm no sound engineer. And I think that we all get that. But just listen to the show itself, it's clear the sound work is just sloppy. And it's clear that they did not use a mode synthesizer in the same ways other shows do nowadays. See? I didn't know that we needed a synthesizer to be on the Mario Kart 64 soundtrack style. Yeah, it works well when it's at that level because it's far away from us. Okay? Even when it's not when it's blaringly loud. Okay? I didn't know we needed to be that loud. Okay? Not only that, but it doesn't really punctuate at all. Okay? In fact, this whole show, even with the offensive comedy and its terrible writing and the acting that's just out there, could have been really good if only it was mixed properly. Because I hate to keep on dwelling on this because I know people are getting tired of this and saying, oh, stop it, listen, the sound effects can't be that bad. I'm telling you now that if this show was any better, they would have put on competent sound work. You, competent sound work is not optional. It is required to make a show. And I don't care if I have to yell that point into someone's ears like if they're going deaf. I have to keep on reminding you that this show will make it annoying. I don't think it's gonna matter as much as something else. And here's the thing that really is just damning about this. Because on top of all that, even with the unfunny jokes, even with the offensive jokes, even with the terrible sound work, the acting is not good either. Like, I get it, it's a sketch show. Most people are doing these live or in front of something else. But sketch shows need to work more than anything else. And excuse me 1 second, please. My voice is getting a little tired. Much better. So, anyways, these sketch shows require pitch-perfect acting to go through. That's why when you hear something live, it's not really filmed live in the way that you would think. They take several takes and then they film it live. Why? Okay? The take that they take is the perfect one, but even then they don't make it perfect. In this show, okay, I'm not sure if it's filmed live or not, even I don't know, but it feels like they took the first take and tried acting. because it just doesn't sound like they mix it correctly. Now, I know I'm going on a long rant, believe me, I know I am about this show. And I haven't even mentioned why it was canceled in the first, before the first episode even aired in some regions. But, I don't think I need to. The blatant offensive jokes are one. The lack of competent sound mixing is 2. The unfunniness is 3. And the acting is 4. It's paramount how this show didn't get stripped up. It was just plain not gonna work. Regardless of what you think, it just doesn't work. I have 2 more of these things. Dear Lord. Sorry guys, but if you see me doing one a lot more, it's probably because of these shows is just piss poor quality. Okay, where was I? Oh yes. Back to these shows. Oh god. Well, I will say the next one is probably the best of the 4 we have. Mainly because I just don't like it just because it's plain bad. That's it. There's nothing offensively wrong with this show. It's just that's bad. Okay, and honestly, that's honestly something that just doesn't really qualify something else. So just having shows just plain bad is really this show's biggest crime. What's the show? Okay, there is one crime here. It's that god-awful theme song. Why in the hell is it like that? God. Let me just fix my hat and... Okay. So, let's just get over a few things first, okay? 1. A show can have a bad theme song and still be successful. I can think back to several shows that have great theme songs and still have the purpose done to a T. So, yeah. So, honestly, what's wrong with co-ed fever, honestly? Well, honestly, there's nothing really all that wrong. Oh, granted, the acting ain't good. The acting is pretty bad, I can tell you that much. Oh, granted, the storyline's pretty weird. It's just basically about college from a co-ed. Co-ed, that's a big deal plus. So, realistically, 2 things are already not going wrong. What's wrong with the show then? It's just bad. Watching this, I just feel nothing. I feel nothing watching this. I watched this and was like, okay, maybe it's not for me, so I watched it a second time and nope, it's just plain bad. It's just bad. And that's the thing I get with this show, is that there's nothing wrong with it at all. And this is something that I'm really hoping I was hoping Fish through, that was just gonna be just one of the shows I just had to watch and just had to believe. But no, the real reason why it just doesn't work isn't because this show is awful, this show doesn't work, is that this show's just plain bad. And, excuse me, regardless of what's going on, here's the thing. A show can be bad and last long. We saw that with several shows. I can point to several that lasted more than 1 season, and yet are not very good. But I don't think that we have a pilot on the show so far of the 2 we talked about that's just its main excuse just being just not good. Good, okay? The acting doesn't really work. The storyline and the plot are kind of rudimentary. And again, I don't blame these shows for being off of tape recorders. I get it. These were the best recordings they had. I'm aware, okay? This was not back when we had a fancy DVR to record everything off of. And we have fancy cameras nowadays to record things on. Even though I'm just using a Canon camera that I bought by Vision Electronics in Canada. I get it. It's not exactly that hard to see a camera like this. And believe me, as someone who is still not perfect at camera working, it's not exactly easy. But it's just want to tell you that right now that I'm not blaming the quality of these films off of what they have. So I'm never gonna say, oh, this show just looks bad because it looks bad. No, it looks bad because the lane's off or the camera work is not good. Not because it's a quality of VCR, but because it looks like it just looks bad if it looks bad. Well, Get to One show doesn't really have that kind of issue at all. So before I get off that little tangent, what else doesn't work at a show? Honestly, not much. Could Beaver's biggest crime is that it just isn't a good show. And that's a shame because when you think about it, a school going co-ed actually owns up a lot of possibilities. How so? You can make it work. Here, I just don't see how this show could work. Now, granted, this is not meaning that this show is going to be outright bad. In fact, I know shows at colleges that can work really well. Take a look at shows that have schools that work really well, like Freaks and Geeks, Community, Glee. All these shows focus around some form of school, and yet they all work well. So, what's another thing that this show doesn't have? That just these shows do have, though? Well, to be honest, yeah, I just don't see any appeal on this show. Now, granted, I will say a few facts of the show. Number one, it technically did air more episodes in my home country of Canada. However, I've only been able to find a pilot online, so if those are somewhere in the archives, then they are lost media as of 2025. And two, this show did have an extra life. The dorms that you see here was later used for the classic sitcom The Facts of Life. A much better show than this thing right here. And do you want to know why The Facts of Life works compared to everything else? Show? Well, other than an annoying theme song, is that it actually is kind of competently made. So yeah, this one might not have much to talk about. In fact, I'd consider it the best of the 4 shows. But let's just say that I also don't find co-ed Fever to be anywhere near good. If you guys don't know, 1979 was a terrible year for TV. It was 1 year before 1980, and it was also the same year that a lot of things happened. This was the same year, where, no joke, the term, look, we had shows that were running on. If you know stuff, then you might know one thing that might have happened pretty quickly. Okay? And that is, in 1977, you know what happened. And because of a ruin of television, yeah, 1979 was just overall just bad. So, I'm not blaming anything on the show. It's not terrible. It's just plain bad. Bad, bad, bad. And yet, I'm still not done yet. Okay. Now, I know I'm going to be technically cheating with this last one, because here's the thing. This last show technically shouldn't count, because it did have a second episode, and it's easily found on YouTube, this second episode. However, we're not counting that. And I know we're not counting that mainly because I'm not asking for a show that ran for next episode in May areas. This show did get cancelled after 1 episode in certain areas like Australia. And we're talking about, well, it's better in song. So, everybody.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man.
Now, listen. If you can't tell by my shirt, I love the Rolling Stones. And if you can't tell, this is a show we call Viva Laughlin. Now, again, I don't look at my own rules, but when the hell am I going to talk about this another time? I'm really not. So, what is Viva Laughlin like? Well, it's just about life in Laughlin, Vermont. Okay. Now, if you have an idea of show about, well, it's about Ripley Holden, who's trying to build a new Holden, who's on a mission to run a casino in Nevada. Actors and all that, and also replaces rival Nikki Fontana in the same ways. So, at least the concept isn't that bad. It's just a typical competition show idea of just building a big casino. But there is one main issue. Now, I'm not playing the Rolling Stone song here mainly because of copyright, but well, actually, I could play maybe a tiny snippet. Thank you. The main issue with this is that it's got some of the worst karaoke I've seen yet. Now, this was based on a British show called Blackpool. And Blackpool itself didn't run that long either, 5 episodes, but it was standard practice for a UK show. In the UK, TV shows just generally last shorter. A TV season there might last me like 5 or 6 episodes compared to the randomest episodes there. So having a show that's pretty short in the UK is standard procedure. Here, you can't say the same thing with this show, as regardless of who you are, I don't think this show did all that well. And here's the main issue with the Laughlin, okay? Even with that, the acting's bad as well. And you can't blame me, this has Hugh Jackman in it. Yes, that Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. So, realistically, this is a bad show because of concept. And because it has talent behind it. Hell, the original actor from Blackpool, Lloyd Owens, actually came back. So, I know that this show has something else going for it. And I know that this show was something else. So, having Lloyd Owen come back from so an actual British guy coming to the show, it seemed to work, right? Well, how about the fact that he doesn't pull off an American accent all that great? Now, granted, I get it, the guy is English, or Welsh as he to proclaim. I get it, like, it's not easy to pull off an accent in that way, okay? Honestly, if you asked me to pull off British accents, I'd probably have a pretty embarrassing effect on it. But, yeesh. Lloyd just is not trying this role. And it's not like other actors aren't doing badly either. This show also has made some other actors too. Marlene Griffith, D.B. Woodside, P.G. Bryan. These are all actors who I've seen in quality work before. So it's not like these actors are bad. In fact, many of them are great. It's just that they're not great in this show. And it's pretty easy to tell. I kind of wish that we had a bit more ears. But again, the same kind of parades in it. I mean, just going over it all, it could be so bad that it's making Melly Vanilli look convincing by comparison, if you guys know what I mean. And it just is, and like I said, the acting's bad as well. But that's even worse. Thus, it doesn't really work as a show. Like with Co-Ed Beaver, despite all the problems that the show has, the main thing this show has is just bad. It just doesn't have anything good going for it. Watching the pilot, it's just knowing the fact that this is a British show trying to show like Blackpool, and it's not doing all that great. Listen, I admit I didn't even watch the original Blackpool, so I have no idea what is the actual thing like. And I admit, maybe the show is better than anything. The show is actually really good. It only ran for 7 episodes, so I'm not trying to sure how. Yeah, but maybe there's a reason why I don't remember much it. And it's not like the show itself had bad actors in it either. I mean, this show had David Tennant in it. So yeah. It's not exactly everything did very well. But what was Blackpool was that the entire concept was the show. They played cop music along with some act in it, having the idea of and the show was positively reviewed. Being a mystery thriller also had a playable premise. You can't say the same with this show. You just can't. And I just can't see the same with this show at all. I mean, like Colette Fever is just bad. Like, I know I should be raging at this because it's given Mick Jagger, Randy Bachman, Debbie Harry, and Elton John a bad name. But realistically, those are the main issues. The main issue is that this show just doesn't work because not only bad, it's also boring. It's just boring business talk. It's got a boring idea of just trying to build a bigger casino. It doesn't have the same skill at all. Well, listen. When your main selling point is you have Hugh Jackman fucking Wolverine doing karaoke this bad, you've lost the plot. And keep in mind, I have something that, yes, I am not a professional singer. I'm not a music critic. If you want a music critic, go to Tar in the Shadows. You can do a way better job than I can. But I'm pretty sure I'm not someone who should tell you that this doesn't work. Now, surprisingly enough, this did work for this episode. However, in Australia and other parts of the world, it only ran for one. Which is why we're making attention for this list, because we're counting shows that ran for show in a good ton of regions. So, well, yes, the show should be technically cheating. When else we're going to talk about the show, who knows? So, now that we're done with these 4 shows, all the quality, it's easy to say that these shows would have worked. In all honesty, no. Even if they lasted more episodes, I don't think it would have gone better. In fact, it could have gone worse. All these shows have the main problem of being just bad. Okay? The concept is bad at times, or maybe the acting's bad, or maybe it just has a bad execution. It doesn't have it's okay. So what would I tell you about what gives you the advice to say that these shows well, realistically, if you have an idea down, well, I just tell you just to relax and just tell you these shows have quality, but they really don't. Okay? And here's something that's really frustrating. Because these had to have people working on them. I can guarantee you that all these shows have to have people work on them. Okay? But it's frustrating that not only do they just make something so ass backwards when it comes to just having a good TV show, it just baffles me on just how they did it too. Now, yes, not every show is going to become successful. And not every show is going to have tons of seasons. I get it. Okay? Not every show is going to be like Simpsons or Doctor Who where they run for a long time. I get it. But the reason why shows like The Simpsons and Doctor Who work isn't just because they run for a long time. They have engaging storylines, great characters, stellar acting, amazing visuals. Despite everything I've said before, I would hesitate to call these shows anything if not, they didn't try. None of these shows feel like they were lazy. I will give them that compliment right there, but it really isn't that much. Okay? But if I were to go rank these shows, I mean, they all have different flavors of the same dumpster shit that we've been dealing with, just for the different, just a different smell overall. Then I guess we have to go. I guess if I put my least go bad here, it would probably be Colette Beaver. At least that one's an excuse of just having nothing really wrong with it. It's just plain bad. Beaver Laughlin to make next. Like Colette Fever, it's just plain bad. It's just that it adds the karaoke and in there too. Then, honestly, it'd be hard to pick between Turn On and, of course, Howling at Home. But I'd put Howling at Home on the worser end. Turn On might have the worst sound mixing and might have more offensive jokes. But at least it's a sketch comedy, so you expect it out of that. Holiday at Home has offensive jokes, but it's in a sitcom. We shouldn't expect that out of a sitcom. Overall, I just hope that these shows show the lesson that you shouldn't try these. Now, before we end off, I'd like to say thank you all so much for watching. If you want to follow me on other sites, check it out on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Patreon, and more. Please contact Bluesky if you have time. Okay? And please, give this video a like and subscribe as we get into it. After this is going Thomas 45 time, aka Thomas from 145, saying it's going on Cost, saying see you all later.